Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Rich with Raven YouTube channel. Y'all, I am really ecstatic to get into the topic of staying profitable today. And I'm excited to talk about it because I feel like this is a big problem amongst Christian entrepreneurs. We see a lot of Christian entrepreneurs with these great ideas, right? And they're great ideas because they are God ideas. Like I'm talking about these ideas have come from you fasting and spending time in the presence of the Lord and all of that. And so naturally, when we get an idea from God, if we don't see it to be profitable, we're like, what's happening? Like what's going on? Like, why is the idea not IDing? Why is the idea not doing what I thought that it was going to do? Why is it not doing what I've been basically praying that it's going to do, right? And so I want to share two things. Number one, I want to talk about one of the biggest mistakes that I feel like a lot of Christian entrepreneurs make, and that is we make the mistake of feeling like we are always in the lab. Oh, I'm waiting to hear from God about this. Oh, let me seek, what God is saying about this. I'm planning this. Like we spend so much time in the planning phase and in the praying about it that we don't spend as much time executing. And the thing about it is that God needs us to execute. He needs us to execute. I'm not saying that you don't have to pray. You absolutely have to pray and you should be praying without ceasing, but don't forget to execute on top of your prayers. Don't forget to come out of that prayer closet and go and do what God said to do. Don't be that person that you allow the spirit of fear, that you allow the spirit of doubt, that you allow the spirit of overthinking to make you think that you're always supposed to be planning. Can you imagine if Jesus just kept planning? Like seriously, can you imagine if Jesus kept being like, I'm waiting on instruction and never did anything? No, he had to go out and heal. He had to go out and speak to the people. He went out and did miracles. Like you cannot just sit back and think that you're supposed to be planning all the time. Jesus did not just sit back. He went and he did work. He went out there. You got to get out there and you got to execute. So that leads me to the next thing that I want to share, which is, in my opinion, the ultimate way for Christian business owners to stay profitable. And it's very simple. You have to know what your revenue generating activities are. What that means is, what are the things that I can do in my business that are productive to the point that they bring in a profit? Sometimes we do the busy work, oh, let me go and do this just to feel like we're doing something. And we don't even realize that this busy work is not making us any money. Something that I ask clients all the time is, are you being productive or are you being busy? Because busy has never made me any money. Being productive is what has made me money. And this is why the execution piece is so important, because if you plan forever, you'll never know what are the things that really work for your business. When you start to execute and you can test stuff, because marketing has to do with testing a lot, right? You test things, you see what works, you measure it, like you see how successful it is. So once you put things out there, you can start to see, okay, when I do this, that's a little bit more effective. Okay, when I do that, that's a little bit more effective than that. So you gotta execute in order to know what works and what doesn't work. And when I tell y'all, like, this is not a one size fits all situation for every business. What works for me may not necessarily work for your business. What works for your business, may not necessarily work for my business. And that's why it is important, even with my clients, as much as I can advise them and say, hey, here's the blueprint that I did. This is the step-by-step thing. This is how I did it. We still got to test things out. And we still have to measure things so that we can see what, in fact, is working for their business. Things change across industries. Things change with the time. So this is something that you honestly want to be revisiting constantly. Like, does the revenue generating activities that I was utilizing last year, do they still work for me in this year? Does the revenue generating activities that I was utilizing last quarter, does it still work for me in this quarter? We have to consider all of these things in order to stay profitable, y'all. Like, when I tell y'all, like, I will never stop being passionate about Christian entrepreneurs making money, because this is your birthright. You know, this is a right that we have as followers of Christ. The book of Deuteronomy tells us that the Lord has given us the power to create wealth. And I want to talk about that for a second, because I feel like oftentimes when we talk about that scripture, we talk about it from a place of excitement because we're excited about the getting wealth part. Okay. I'm excited that that scripture talks about the power to get wealth. Okay. Building wealth is so powerful because when done properly and when utilized properly, it is a tool to build up the kingdom. And this is why the devil doesn't want you having any money, right? Because he knows that wealth is a tool to build up the kingdom. Wealth is a tool to build generational wealth, and invest into the next generation. Like, wealth is a powerful tool. So don't take this lightly. Don't be the person that you switch up what you're doing on a day-to-day basis based on what everybody else is doing. No, figure out what the things are that you do in your business that makes money. And let me tell you how you're going to do that. Quick exercise. Think about the last time in your business that you saw an influx of sales. I'm talking about like you had a day, like, wow, like you looked at whatever platform that you use to get your sales on, you looked at that thing and was like, wow, this was a great day. Like, I got a lot of sales. Whatever it was that you did, repeat that and repeat it often, because the Lord is showing you that this is a way that the needle moves in your business in terms of profitability. I don't know about y'all, but I don't want to do things in my business that don't make any money, that's not profitable. I hear a lot of people say things like, oh, I use this social media platform and I get on there and do this and I get on, and that's great. But I'm also like not going to unplug from what I see is working. Now, that doesn't mean that you cannot try new things. If something, is not working as effectively, that's why I said we always want to take the time and check on things, like the things that worked before, are they still working now? Like, we want to make sure that we're checking on stuff, right? But at the same time, like, don't unplug from what's working. If God has already shown you what's working, go back and look at the track record of what God has done in your business. If on February the 1st, you got 100 sales that day, you need to be doing what you did on February the 1st again. If on May the 2nd, you got maybe even 5 sales, if you're a new business owner that's not getting a ton of sales just yet, what were you doing on May the 2nd that you didn't do on May the 14th? Like, let's go back and let's look at what the track record shows. Make sure that you are doing revenue generating activities and not just busy work that's not going to bring in any profit in your business. So I hope that y'all enjoyed this video. Leave a comment below and let me know if you learned something from this video. Let me know if anything that I said resonated with you. And most importantly, make sure that you click on the link in the description below so that you can connect with me further. Enjoy this video as many times as you need to get it ingrained in your brain to stop doing busy work and only do productive revenue generating activities. And y'all, I will see y'all sometime very soon in the next video.